And call the EDC regular meeting to order. And introductory comments would be to really welcome Amanda to the board. Really excited about what she can add, and thrilled that council, that she was willing to accept the role and council appointed her. And so welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, Amanda brings 8 years and counting of council experience. I think you're in double overtime now, aren't you?
I am. Yes.
And I just heard it announced that we were pushing the election to 2022 to get out beyond COVID. Is that?
You're funny. You're funny.
No, so,
November 3rd, but nobody's counting.
No, so really excited. Amanda has tremendous background in marketing and runs the all of the marketing for San Jacinto College, and so I think can take us to school on that for sure. So really excited. Thank you. And then obviously Ronnie's on here, and we've got him as an agenda item, but just to go ahead and comment, Amanda's able to join us because Ronnie is officially resigned on June 26th because he sold his house. And that was after 12 years of service. So really want to applaud and give him thanks for that, because I was going back and looking at some old agenda things this afternoon and trying to figure out, I was on EDC rather, back in 2008, and it was called the Economic Development Advisory Council. And Ronnie, you were just on it. I guess we kind of got on about the same time, but you took a much more robust role, and I had a limited tenure there. But I was thinking that was a long time ago. That was pre-Ike at that moment. So been a couple of things that have happened. So thank you very much. Kind of moving to city update, Brent, if you had any particulars.
Well, I think we're going to cover most of it in the rest of the agenda items. However, if you've been driving around the island, you've seen that the new receptacles are popping up, and we're getting those placed. And first weekend was last weekend that they got some use. And for as large as they are, they don't hold a Rubbermaid garbage cans. So at some of our locations, we're going to still leave the plastic garbage cans, primarily in kind of the fish waste areas and the fishing areas. Seems to work better, and we don't want to necessarily try to dirty them up. So, but we've already received compliments on them. I think they look really good, and I've already noticed a change in the parking lots. After this last weekend, there was less trash in the parking lot. So people are using them, and they're doing the job. We're, I think, further down the agenda, we might talk about bike racks, but try to locate the EDC logo trash cans in the same areas that bike racks will appear, so that there's some continuity there. So looking good, and we thank you for the contribution to the city. I'll address everything.
I haven't seen them in person yet, but they look good in the photos and notice, so that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so director comments, and I'll just kind of go clockwise here on the screen. Johnny, any comments? And maybe you can speak to the bike racks, because I don't think that is a specific agenda item, if you want to give us an update on that.
So can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I spoke to the bike rack folks, and they're still due to ship the end of this month. And there was obviously some issues, but I think I copied y'all in on some of the updates on why they were delayed, and we beat them down on price some more, and we haven't paid anything yet. So that helps. I guess we weren't in a real big hurry, but we ordered those way before the trash cans. The financial snapshot, everyone got that. You can see the taxes were really good, the highest I've ever seen. I guess that's primarily due to the Amazon and other stuff. So that's all for now.
Yeah, and I was just reading something, a retail thing that someone had sent me, that the home improvement folks have really enjoyed a significant bump in traffic. And so I'm sure some of that's flowing out of Home Depot as well. So whatever it is, you know, it's good for us. So Mike, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Do you have any comments?
No comments other than to welcome Amanda as well.
Yeah, okay. Then Thomas?
Yeah, we had a meeting in roads and drainage last week. And there's a lot, okay, we got a lot of comments back from CopeFriendly about our involvement. We are scrutinizing a lot, and they have commented back to us that, you know, they have also learned from this parking lot fiasco, and things are on schedule to be better. We have, for next year, we have, it's almost $1 million if we do it all, you know, well, roughly $1 million if we do it all. So it needs to be scrutinized.
Speaking of which, Brent or Mayor, comments on the election today, and if there's been a material turnout. I wasn't paying attention, but for the fact that I thought that's where I was supposed to vote for the primary runoff, I might have missed it. So I didn't know if it was just my obtuseness or.
Yeah, the poll here was just for the one tax rate increase, and we had 56 folks vote early. And then we
not an increase. It's not an increase, though, is it?
No.
It's to
maintain it the same.
The reauthorization.
I was there just before 5, and by that time, you know, and then there had been 65 people in total voting. 14 today, and the rest was earlier.
All of just 14 walk-ins today, because my only concern was that people might have misunderstood what it was for and assumed it was an increase. And then, if, you know, when you have a low turnout, it doesn't take many people to turn it the other way. So hopefully that doesn't happen. So
yeah, 14 folks turn in early, and then we did send a lot of ads out from the city addressing what the election was for.
Got it.
a large social media presence and explaining that, and you can't tell them, you know, can't influence the election, but you can provide what it's about and explain what the issue is. So it's just a reauthorization of that 0.25% sales tax that is in effect. Otherwise, it will expire. And as far as special elections go, Clear Lake Shores and City of Sundown are the only two that had a special election on a sales tax. Everybody else was the runoffs. So really a white elephant as far as it comes to elections, and you had to jump through a lot of hoops. I'm guessing that our final total rollout and polls will close, or the poll will close in about 18 minutes. Should have results within about 23, so maybe even before the end of this meeting. But we may have had 100 people as we project out, and so we'll see where it comes in.
Okay, great. Amanda, any introductory comments?
No, I think most of y'all know me. We've worked before, but I'm happy to be here, and I've been doing a lot of reading and catching up. I still have a little bit of that to do, but looking forward to working with everybody and moving forward.
Great. Well, thanks again. Assuming no unscheduled visitors, I don't see anyone on the screen, so we'll move to the consent agenda. If everyone's had a chance to look at the June 2020 financials, the June 2020 check register, and the minutes of our regular meeting on June 9th. And if I can have a motion to approve the consent agenda items, A through C.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mike seconds, and so is there any discussion? No further discussion, then all in favor raise your hand. All opposed, so that's unanimous. So then, Ronnie, you need to mute your ears here, but this is I'd like to make a motion to really to allow me to place the order to spend up to $250 for a plaque to honor Ronnie's service to EDC and the city. And I have distributed that design. I just sent that out just before we got on, so you may not have looked at it yet, but I have a design, and the mayor and Brent have looked at that, and I think we feel good about it. So if everybody's good with that, that would be my motion to authorize expenditure of up to $250 for purchase of a plaque that City Council will present to Ronnie in honor of his service.
I'll second the motion, Charles.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Didn't have anything for like 20 bucks.
What's that?
They didn't have anything for like 20 bucks.
Yeah, I tried, yes.
Does it have my picture on it?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a Xerox that I've taped to it, but anyway, so with that, then all in favor, raise your hand. All opposed, same sign. It's unanimous. So again, look forward to that. I have to get the timing on that, but we'll get that order placed in the morning. I guess, Brent, just the perennial update on the Lee Tract parking lot, which is what we're going to call it till we get to the next agenda item.
Okay. Yeah, on this parking lot, I did have an update that just happened today. I did receive an email from the company that was contracted to do the electrical design and approval, make sure that we make windstorm, and they had contracted for structural review on the poles and the concrete, I guess, bases to make sure that that's all correct. And I just received an email today that said, after talking with CenterPoint, that they needed to do additional design work for the power connection. And what they originally had planned on was that they were going to be allowed to place a ladder there that would access a platform where the connections are. Because of our location and the design parameters and our 1 freeboard, we're looking at the electrical connections being, I want to say 9.5 feet above grade. So
Wow.
that requires not a ladder, but actually steps at this point. And so the net result of that, to engineer that platform, to design it and stamp it, make sure it's wind rated and to our 2018 International Building Codes, is an additional $2,600. So originally the EDC had approved an amount not to exceed $5,000. I thought that was reasonable. I signed a contract at $3,600. There's been a change in how CenterPoint's going to allow the that connection, and so that's the explanation for the additional cost. And I guess since it's on the agenda, I request approval to move forward with additional expenditure to get that design. And this is just for the design to confirm that it's to code and it's correct and it's going to work. This is not the construction portion, nor have we purchased any of the fixtures. So just to remind you of that. And this was basically done out of extreme caution, because we didn't want to have to replay, have any problems up there. So we want to exercise extreme caution and do it right the first time, not have to go back and do it.
Right. So we need a motion then to approve expenditure of an additional $2,600, or is it, call it
$2,600, or if you want to do a amount not to exceed total.
Let's just make that not to exceed an additional $3,000 for, is it Cobb Finley doing that design as well?
Yeah, Cobb Finley was submitted that quote through the electrical company, not directly to us. So
Got it. For the electrical, an additional $3,000 for design work for the electrical connection for the lead tract parking lot lighting. So do I have someone that'll make that motion?
I'll make motion
Okay.
to approve additional funding not to exceed $3,000 for design work.
Okay. Johnny makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Who was that? I'm sorry.
Thomas.
Oh, okay, Thomas. And so is there any discussion? If not in favor, raise your hand. Okay, looks to be unanimous. So motion approved.
thank you.
Okay, well then that'll take us to the next item, which is, well, and let Johnny, if you want to go ahead and just talk about this.
Yeah, we can make this brief. I didn't want to overcomplicate it. Hopefully I didn't, but I sent an email to all you guys and a few additional people to come up with names for the two main parking lots. And like you said, item number 7 is a perfect example why we probably need one. And I think the city council, last city council meeting, I think, was having to describe maybe the farmer's market lot. And it just seemed like it needs a name, so we don't have to describe its geographical location every single time, or use names like the Lee Trite lot, which people don't know what that is, that don't live here, or most probably don't know anyway.
Right.
So I don't know if y'all had a chance to look at names. Anyone want to speak or suggest one or two? And I thought we could just bring it to council and say, look, we like these 2 or 3 names, 1 or 2 or 3 names. Do y'all want to pick one? Maybe they do and maybe they do not, but I think it'd be beneficial. So if you look at Google Maps, I sent it on an email as well. It's just 2 voids. There's nothing that even shows that anything's there, much less a parking lot. So after we name them, I think we could put them on Google Maps. And I spoke to Adri, and she said that she would help out with the technical stuff there. So.
And Johnny, just to let you know, the item that council was discussing was naming the eventually named parkland that's outside of Okies,
Next to Okies, yeah.
Oh, okay.
which is where the food trucks are. It's kind of like an L, and it goes back
Sure.
there. We were going to put the band stage at.
And we actually talked about that months and months ago too, if we should name that something separate too. So I'm glad that's what.
Just, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Joe just texted me that he seems to be locked out of the meeting. And it looks like Ronnie got
Yeah,
dropped out of the meeting.
I just saw him show up. So I admitted him, and there's also a phone 713-526-3727 that's online. I don't know who that is.
So Ronnie's back on.
Can you hear me? Hang on. Mute.
Yep.
Did we lose Ronnie, or did he just slip off the screen?
He just walked away. I see Joe. Joe, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, let me turn off the phone.
And then there's a 713-526-3727.
Yeah,
Joe's phone.
that's me. I'm getting echo. Hang on, I'm here. I'm just moving around.
Yes. Yes, Joe, we can hear you.
Sorry.
Nope, all good.
You're good.
Okay. Can
So
you hear me
Johnny-
okay?
Okay, so I
the
don't know,
names
Joe, if you heard, we're just trying to talk about names. I mean, I'll just go ahead and jump out there and just get the conversation going, and then we can shoot it down and do something else. But I was thinking about all kinds of clever names, and none of which seem to resonate or have any meaning in terms of location. And so I just kept coming back to just something pretty simple and straightforward, like east and west lots. And maybe it's, common lots or something, but east and west seem to be about as descriptive as you could get without, I mean, we can name them after features of the landscape or nature or, but you know, it's for simplicity's sake, it just seemed to be a lot easier to think east and west. So I'll toss that out and then we can go from there.
I'll comment.
Yes, please.
As much as I like Ronnie's world, the east and west are the only things that make sense to some stranger coming to the island.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like East and West. The only other one that really resonated was main lot and East lot, or sorry, West lot. But then people may get turned around, but because it is the main lot, I think it always probably will be. And then
That's
West
a good,
lot.
I mean, that sounds good too. I mean, I'm probably good with that. Amanda?
So I'm just, again, catching up. So these are temporary names, or these are what they're going to be named, like have signage names up there, or what's the intention here?
The intention is not necessarily to put up signs immediately. That's a separate initiative, but assuming we name them something, there would eventually be signage, but it's just so that we adopt a naming protocol so that we stop talking about the Lee Tract lot or the farmer's market lot. Neither name means anything to anyone coming in off the street who doesn't
Right.
have
Got it.
10-year history. And then we're just making a recommendation to council. So it was really just to kind of spark council's initiative on it.
Something to consider is just you know, there's some past mayors that contribute a lot to the city. Joe Lee was a mayor for a long time, and hence why maybe the Lee parking lot. I know they were the owners of the South Shore Beer Garden too, but then also you have Buzz Larrabee. And so if you look back at the history since 1963, since the city's been incorporated, you may want to look at some of the outstanding past mayors. Just
That was kind of my thought too, of is there a way, although I don't know that any of those lots meant anything to those people, right? The only past mayor that I know is Vern, obviously, and then Kathy, who's no longer here. So none of these, no offense, Johnny, but I don't know, they're not sticking with me.
From a marketing standpoint, it would be nice if, like, for instance, someone had brought up, I think, was Pelican lot and Otter lot, which is really cute. So, I mean, there's things you could do that, you know, if there was a sign and it looked like an otter or looked like a pelican, I think that brings a little more personality to our, to our community.
And
that's
if we
something
named
we
it
can do.
the Lee lot, we could maybe get a statue, someone on a horse, maybe in a uniform. It's a thought.
And then have it
Very
torn down.
popular these days.
Yeah, they're not very
we could probably get a pretty good deal on one or melt one down.
There you go. Yeah.
Maybe the official naming can wait for signage, but again, this is just one of those things that we have been talking about since we started the main parking lot.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I want to make an official agenda item finally, just to see if we could, all right, let's start referencing it as this and see if it catches on. Didn't have to be official or that.
I tell you what, why don't, Johnny, for tonight, why don't we just unofficially start calling it East and West? Not that that's to speed ahead, but just for shorthand. Or we can call it Lee Tract and Farmers Market because we know what those are. It doesn't matter. We can table this for further discussion and maybe just bring it back and let everybody have a chance to kind of percolate. Amanda's new to it, so she's got a marketing mind. I mean, there's nothing that says we had to do it tonight. It was, as Johnny said, just so we start doing something,
Yeah, it is one of those things, and I didn't know if it was just going to catch on and everyone had a great idea and then it was going to be done, but It doesn't look like that's the case. So, yeah, we can.
Otherwise, 5 years from now, we'll still be calling it Lee Tract and Farmers Market. So,
but one thing we may think about doing is just putting generic parking. See if we can get that set up on Google Maps. If everybody thinks that's probably a good idea.
I think that's a great
city
idea.
parking or
city parking. I think that's, I think
Okay.
that's as good a designation as anything. So would you take the initiative to, how do we get that onto Google Maps?
It's pretty simple. I think it could probably be done by the end of this meeting.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Place mark.
Excellent. Who's doing that?
I'll
I'll have
take the
a,
initiative.
I don't
Okay.
think it's that simple, but good luck.
Yeah, it's a bit more of a process to
Yeah,
get to
it's like claiming a business, right?
Yeah. So so I have to submit to Google, and then they send a postcard back to confirm. And there's a couple different steps involved. It's not impossible, but so it can be done. So did you
Yeah,
say
I've gone
work
through all
on
that process before too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
would doing them now and calling them east and west or city parking, does that affect anything in the future, or is it complicated to get it renamed, or is it just as easy?
You probably have to go through the same steps. I would city parking is probably better. I mean, Google Maps has my house. It's the middle of downtown Clear Lake Shores. So what does that tell you? But yeah, so I would label it as a parking lot.
I think once you establish your account that it is yours, I think you have a little bit, you can edit it. I don't know if the name is that easy. I don't recall, but once you establish at Google that you own it and you have the rights to change the information on there, then it's pretty easy.
It's a little bit easier to change than it is to first get it established.
Right.
Right now with the COVID, it's actually kind of easy because they're all working from home for Google, but we were able to make the O-bar at our home address.
Brent, are you taking the lead on that? Whatever it may entail?
Does the city already have a Google account? Like we're talking about, like a business city? I think probably it does.
Yeah, we've got, I've got one, I think, that I created when I came in. So I'll go back and check. It was like cls.tx.city.
But you have Adri do it.
We do have an account, and that's the same place where we put our YouTube video.
Yeah,
So-
that's what I was just looking for. Yeah, we should, because we have YouTube.
Ask Adri to work this.
She says yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Adri.
Okay, well then we'll just table the formal action on that item on the renaming and just go with the getting something on Google Maps at the moment. Next item is just an update on the advertising program that we authorized, I guess, last meeting for the advertising the Emergency Business Retention Program grant recipients, specifically in the Galveston Daily News and the Islander. And we have run one 3-page ad in the Islander. I hope everyone's seen, I believe that was the July edition, and we have 2 more months to run. So it's great exposure for everyone. Similarly, we've had 3 full-page ads in the Galveston County Daily News that I sent you kind of the cut sheet for what that looked like. And it came out full color. We actually have an opportunity to pick up, I just asked, just place the order for 1 additional full-page ad so that they were offering at half price relative to the prior 3. So we'll finish this out with 4 full-page ads, and then the 3 months in the Islander coming in at just under $4,700 against our $5,000 authorization. So for what it was, I think it was good value. So that's that. The next item was to discuss and take possible action to approve the expenditure of up to $2,000 for fabrication and installation of signs for Depot Park and the boat ramp parking lot. And do we have is there an official name for that other than the boat ramp parking lot?
Shell Bottom Park.
Shell Bottom Park, I knew that. And Shell Bottom Park, really encouraging visitors to pick up their trash. My objective there was kind of a soft sign, not put your damn trash in a trash can, but hey, we love our neighborhood. We love our parks. We hope you do too. Please help us out. I've got a little preliminary design that I put together, but I wanted to bring that in with the actual design and it didn't get completed. So I'd like to just table that until next time. There's nothing, there's not a great rush on it. And I'd like to have a design that everybody can see before approving that. So, but the idea is to put up some signage at both parks that is in the category of encouragement rather than slapping everybody. I don't know if that works, but it just felt better to me. So, so we can table that. And so with
Can I,
that,
can I make a comment?
Sure.
I know city council, when they had the group that looked at, you know, the boat ramp and other parks, there was a discussion about getting some signage from the Texas Park and Wildlife, and we were going to do, you know, coordinate all of the signs for all of the parks and make them look similar, make them have the same kind of information on them and some logos and stuff. Is that, you know, we should coordinate this somehow and decide who's going to do it.
Well, that's a great initiative. It's not one I'm willing to take up. Brent just raised his hand and
We utilized the comments from that committee, and we did create like a rules sign. It's made out of, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's made out of the same material as the information boards that are along Jarbo's walkway on the waterfront. So it's got the pictures and things embedded into it. It won't crack, split, peel, or fade. It's guaranteed against all of that stuff. That is up right now at Shell Bottom, and it has QR codes on it that people can scan to go to not only our ordinances on our website, but it also connects out to water safety and maybe Texas Parks and Wildlife. So we've got other information that can be updated, they can scan and they can go to, so we don't have to put everything on there. But we hit the highlights of the things that are important for the city, like the park is closed from midnight to 5 a.m. If you're going to pull your car out in the middle of the, after it's dark, consider using your parking lots, not your headlights, so you're not shining up into people's homes. No fishing off the pier. The pier's been marked as well where it says no fishing. So I thought we integrated what we could into that. That sign was about $800. So they're not inexpensive.
How much was that again? I'm sorry, it cut out.
It was about $800.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
And it's mounted on the same standards as the Shell Bottom Park sign that looks like it's carved out of wood. It's a high density urethane HDU sign. So hopefully that answers part of that question.
So adding signage about picking up your trash to that sign is not very feasible, right? Because it's already been fabricated.
Correct. I think Charles can speak to it, but I think he was looking at a standalone sign,
right.
Similar construction as the HDU sign. It looks like it's carved out, and it would be located probably not along the street where people are trying to find a place, but probably closer to where the action is, over where maybe garbage cans get filled up.
And the origin of this was really Deep Hole Park, and frankly, the Shell Bottom was kind of a supplement, but assumed we had a trash problem there as well. So, I mean, we don't have to do anything at Shell Bottom. It was really that we had more of a trash problem at Deep Hole that was the catalyst for looking at something. And so that we were looking to keep pretty simple and straightforward.
And it's really a function of people not being work, the reduced work schedules, people having free time and wanting to go fishing. So people are spending more time outside. I don't know, I've gone to Academy Sports and I've tried to buy a fishing pole for about 3 months. They're fine. don't think you're going to find a bicycle either.
Yeah.
Bicycle completely gone. So, people are outdoors doing activities, and we're seeing that we're weathering that spike as well. This isn't a normal fishing season to us. It's definitely COVID related.
I just want us to be mindful of not signing everything in the parks, because I can see something else come up and, oh, we need a sign for this, and we need a sign for that, we need a sign for this. And so just want to be very mindful about not over-signing our parks so that they stay parks.
Very sensitive to signage, particularly as it relates to the waterfronts. So, if you've been out to Shell Bottom and seen the cart parking signs, they're low and they're close to the ground. And if you were just there to watch a boat go by, you probably wouldn't even notice. But if you're there to park your car and you hop out of your car, you'd see it. And we're trying to be sensitive to that for that reason. So thank you, man.
A big initiative to go along with Amanda's that committee was to reduce our sign pollution throughout the city.
Yeah.
Especially with our ordinances and reminders and combining signs into one sign to be at each park of all of our ordinances and rules.
Okay. And I guess the takeaway then would be, and how do we want to proceed? What I don't want to do is get the sign designed, and I'm assuming my design will come in tomorrow, and then I've got a month lag, and I'm thinking if we don't want to put up a sign, or if we want to let Brent work with the Parks Committee to confirm that whatever we do is consistent with their objectives. Maybe that's if they choose not to do it, but then we could go ahead and authorize the expenditure, assuming it's subject to their approval and satisfaction. Or we can just table it.
No, I like the idea of a sign, and I don't know that the Parks Committee needs to provide any approvals. That's not their role.
Okay.
So I think moving forward, I just want us to be mindful and sensitive, as Brent said, to that, because that was something we were trying to do, was to reduce the amount of signage noise in our parks. And so I want to be respectful of that.
No, and that's, in fact, I could pull up here, and if everybody's got a few minutes, let me just do that to figure out how to reduce this screen now.
I do know that at Deep Hole, we've got an interesting way that it can be displayed, and if is to address like a lot of the fishing trash that we seem to accumulate. We've got a rail there that we could place appropriate signage on that would not be in the normal person's, somebody who's looking out's view. It's already obscured with a bunch of fencing and things like that, but to the fishermen that stand along that rail, it would be noticeable and readable, and hopefully would drive home the idea of, let's keep it clean. So I like the idea of moving forward with the sign as well.
I do too, especially at Deep Hole, because that is, with the fishermen and it's their lines and other stuff too. So I do too. I just needed to say that because I know that was a big thing for us and City Council, was to make sure that we're being mindful of that.
Let me, well, I'll tell you what, rather than make everybody wait for me to search for it in my email and folders, why don't I amend the motion to seek approval? And I still think maybe we just go to $1,000 for design and installation of signage for Deep Hole Park, subject to review and approval by Brent and the mayor, that ensures that it's consistent with our overall signage objectives for the parks. So that's my motion. I think I'll just make that motion Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, and so then further discussion? Okay, there being none, all in favor, show of hands? And I can't see all the hands now, so looks like okay. All opposed? I'm assuming none opposed, so motion passes. So we'll move forward with signage for deep holes specifically subject to those conditions. So there being no further new business, unless I've missed something.
Hey, Charles.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't hear you do public comment, but I did have one if you can go back. I don't know if you can go back.
Sure, absolutely. No, go right ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention the EDC that with the new bridge going in on Birch Road and all the golf carts from Clear Lake Shores, once school opens back up, will be traveling east and westbound on 2094. There may be a purpose for EDC to do a fast track wide sidewalk right there in front of IHOP and Discount Tire and Wendy's to make a connector there. So that what we don't want to see is golf carts going both directions on one side of the road, and you're going to run into each other and someone's going to go in the road or something like that. So I'm concerned with people being able to do one path eastbound on the right side of the road and then westbound returning back to Clear Lake Shores. And I know y'all have been really great on getting sidewalks put in.
I think that's a great idea. And so maybe we can go ahead and kind of get ahead of that, Mayor, for an assessment of what we've got and what it would take, and probably go ahead and get some preliminary pricing. And I know Mike led that work before. So Mike, is that something you would mind kind of leading?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind, but keep in mind what we did before was we repaired or did maintenance on some sidewalks. We didn't add new ones.
Gotcha.
So adding new ones, I'm not sure if that's a TechStop project or something we could do ourselves, but I'll be happy to look into it.
Well, maybe the first step would just be to figure out what we have and what it would take to get us to an acceptable standard, and then we can kind of sort that out. So Mike, I'll follow back up with you offline. No, great point. So with that, then there being no further new business, meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everyone.